Funko just dropped the 2 best Spider-Man comic covers ever. So let's check it out.
Anyone can wear the mask.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Funko just released 2 new Spider-Man comic covers, and I think these are by far the best Funko Pop comic covers ever released. And I'm not just talking about Spider-Man. So we're gonna unbox those, and I wanna go over the other 2 Spider-Man Funko Pop comic covers that were released earlier this year. Before we get started, let me know in the comments, what's your favorite Funko Pop comic cover? And it doesn't have to be Spider-Man. So the first Funko Pop comic cover that was released was in fact this Iron Spider comic cover. And I love this one because this comic cover itself was the first time that the Iron Spider debuted in the comic books. But as we take a closer look at the Funko Pop itself, I think they did a great job imitating that kind of leaping pose and especially incorporating those Iron Spider legs on the back of this pop. And it's very important because this is the only comic book accurate Iron Spider Funko Pop that we have since that original 2015 or so Iron Spider Funko Pop. Lately, Funko has only given us Tom Holland's MCU version of the Iron Spider suit. So it is good to see this one, but I'm hoping in the near future, instead of only putting the Iron Spider in a Funko Pop comic cover, that we get the traditional 4-inch size Funko Pop as well. Now, the second Funko Pop comic cover released this year was this Spider-Man 2099. I love this Funko Pop comic cover, especially because this was the first time that Spider-Man 2099 debuted on the cover of a comic book. But Funko really held this comic cover true to the way the comic book looks, kind of has that metallic foil look on the back. And I think the shading of the pop itself looks great, kind of incorporating some of that cell shading with the black there, to give that darker vibe and look that Spider-Man 2099 really had, and incorporating the web cape on his back. Now, not to necessarily pin the 2 comic covers against one another, but I will say that the Iron Spider comic cover is better, in my opinion, than the Spider-Man 2099. But with that being said, as I mentioned earlier, Funko just dropped the 2 best comic covers ever. Now, if you don't know, Todd McFarlane is a comic creator. He actually is the creator of Spawn and the co-creator of Venom. And he's illustrated plenty of comic covers, including Spider-Man. So in an homage to Todd McFarlane, Funko decided to recreate some of his comic covers into Funko Pop comic covers, starting with this amazing looking comic cover, which features Spider-Man in the symbiote suit, and this is the Sub City cover. I think Funko absolutely nailed this one, putting Spider-Man in that crouching pose on this pop and really illustrating the exact way that the comic cover really looks, painting Spider-Man primarily black, but with a little bit of blue to really just highlight the edges and give it more of that comic book feel. Now, as we pay more attention to details, even the Funko Pop itself is kind of stranded there in those spider webs, and it even has the spiders crawling on Spider-Man. But for this comic cover, the spiders are red. Harder to see on this one, but you can still tell that they are there. This comic cover is very well done, and I guess Funko just could not make the Sub City comic cover with Spider-Man in the symbiote suit without giving us the OG comic cover of Spider-Man in his traditional red and blue suit. And this is the Torment comic cover, also illustrated by Todd McFarlane. Now, I personally like this one better than the Sub City comic cover, primarily just because it's more vibrant and it has more colors to it naturally, since the comic cover does feature Spider-Man in his red and blue suit. There naturally seems like there's so much more going on just because there's more colors. Again, they nailed Spider-Man in that kind of crouching pose. I feel as though him being stranded in the webs on the pop itself is more visible since that gray does stand out against his red and blue suit. On this one, you can take a look that the spiders are more prominent, kind of crawling there on him. And I love the way Funko really highlighted how big and vibrant Spider-Man's eyes are on this one, And even with the black around his eyepiece, it really kind of adds that distress and that torment that he's really going through from this comic book. So those are the 4 Spider-Man Funko Pop comic covers that we've gotten this year. There's nothing already announced, so it'll be interesting to see if Funko does announce more Spider-Man comic covers. As always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button and go follow me on TikTok. Until next time, I'm out of here, y'all.